It's been known that I am a connoisseur of covers, both good and bad. There's just something so captivating about a cover that is so horrifically bad that makes it just as entertaining as one that is perfect. Bands and artists putting their own spin on a song that they love.
Whether we asked for it or not.
Sometimes a cover is so good that it surpasses the original. Like, did you know that the Beatles' Twist and Shout was a cover? Or how about Ring of Fire by Johnny Cash?
I fell into the burning ring of fire, down, 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 down into the deepest mire.
And some covers are just really bad. I also happen to be a connoisseur of all things 90s. What do these two things have to do with each other?
Stick around and find out.
No! Hello and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, I'm Trevor and I am eternally uncool. I make videos about music, music culture, and anything that interests me. But mostly music right now. So if that sounds like something you'd be into, then I highly recommend subscribing to the channel and watching the rest of this video. I love the 90s.
In the 90s.
When I was growing up, the first kind of music I got really into was 90s adult alternative. Counting Crows, Third Eye Blind, Gin Blossoms.
Tomorrow we can drive around this town and let the cops chase us around.
I considered myself an expert on the decade as far as music was concerned, but I wasn't. My taste was very surface level. But over the years, I dove deeper into 90s music and found more artistic and underground bands. You know, stuff like Pavement and Royal Trucks. So I think it's safe to say now that I am an expert.
Okay.
With my love of 90s music comes also a love of covers of that music.
The 90s was over 30 years ago.
So it's appropriate that artists would be covering these bands and artists as a kind of nostalgia piece. Man, that's kind of upsetting to think about. Some of these covers are really fucking good. Almost better than the originals.
Almost.
And some are just absolute dog shit that I wouldn't even make my worst enemy listen to. Who is my worst enemy, you might ask? The Man.
Damn the man! Save the empire!
What I want to do today is take a look at 6 covers of 90s songs. 3 good, 3 not good. The rules of this list is that the songs covered have to be released between 1990 and 1999.
You don't break the rules.
But with all that being said, grab a drink, grab a snack, get comfortable, and let's get into the video.
Excellent!
If there's any band that defined the 90s, it's Nirvana. They introduced the world to a new sound and became one of the most beloved bands in history. And when you're one of the most beloved bands in history, you get your songs covered.
A lot.
Nirvana has been covered by everyone from Post Malone to Sinead O'Connor.
I'm married, buried.
And way back in 2011, a bunch of artists got together to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Nirvana's seminal album, Nevermind. You had a lot of cool bands and artists on these covers, but the cover that stuck with me the most was Foxy Shazam's cover of Drain You. I've talked about Foxy Shazam on this channel before. They're a unique band, and they put that uniqueness to good use with this cover. Nirvana's original is heavy and fast and punky, but Foxy puts more of a glam spin on everything. The song incorporates so much more instruments than the original, like piano, bells, and just so much random shit that makes sense if you listen to Foxy Shazam. Drain You is one of my favorite Nirvana songs, and I think Foxy Shazam definitely did their cover justice. They managed to make it unique and original, but without losing what made Nirvana's classic so classic. If you're looking for a good Nirvana cover, this whole tribute album is just perfect. You can find it on YouTube. But if you're looking for a bad Nirvana cover, stay right here.
As if.
This cover is notoriously bad. I've used it as an example of bad covers in pretty much all of my previous cover videos. It's just so bafflingly awful.
Take it, then it's wrong. You hang me out to dry. I can see you every night. Rain.
Wes Scantlon's vocals are like comically bad. It's like he's trolling us. The funny thing about this cover is that Puddle of Mudd is highly influenced by Nirvana. Wes Scantlon even has a vocal style that's similar to Kurt Cobain. You know, like a Walmart Kurt Cobain. Or maybe Good Value. Ollie's brand. Ollie's brand Kurt Cobain. And the unfortunate musicians that Wes has playing behind him, who I'm 95% sure aren't like constant Puddle of Mudd members, they actually do a pretty decent job. You can even see them trying to hold back laughter as Wes just does his worst vocal performance of all time. About a Girl was a Beatles-inspired song that Kurt originally wrote for his girlfriend in the late 80s.
Take it, then it's right. You hear me out to try, but I can see you every night. Free.
Puddle of Mudd takes all of that and tosses it into a puddle of mud.
More like a puddle of shit.
But this cover isn't without its merits. It's a masterclass in how not to cover a song.
Excellent!
I mentioned at the top of this video that one of my favorite 90s bands is Third Eye Blind. But to be honest, I think they might just be one of my favorite bands in general. They're in the top 10 at least. They make a perfect mix of pop and alternative music, with lyrics that focus on sex, drugs, and politics. And Stephen Jenkins is just one of the most perfect frontmen of all time. This really smart but also kind of pretentious artist who knows how to play a rock star. He's kind of like Matty Healy before Matty Healy. Their second album, Blue, is probably my least favorite of their discography, but it does have some absolute bangers. 10 Days Late, Deep Inside of You, and one of my absolute favorite Third Eye Blind songs, Never Let You Go. So imagine my surprise and confusion when I hear this song playing in Target.
Welcome to Target.
I wasn't surprised because it was playing in Target. This song was practically made for Target. I was surprised because the production sounded more modern. It also sounded like 10 times poppier, like they just added sugar on top of it. And Hilary Duff was there too.
I'll never let you turn around your back on each other. That's a good idea, break a promise to your mother.
This cover was done by producer RAC, or Rack, I'm not really sure how to say it, and features Matthew Coma and Coma's wife, 90s and 2000s darling Hilary Duff. Rack's cover really amps up the poppiness and adds some electronic elements. You know, some leaps and loops. And Matthew and Hilary's vocals are much sweeter than Stephen Jenkins's. It's definitely more sugary sweet than the original. And while that might hinder any other song from the 90s, Never Let You Go is already about as poppy as you can get. So making it even poppier doesn't really ruin it.
You sure about that?
Do I think this cover is better than the original? Abso-fucking-lutely not. This cover is good.
But it's not that good.
Never Let You Go is a perfect song. A good cover can only accentuate that fact.
As if.
So around November and December of last year, I got really into Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah, come on, baby, baby, come on. Baby, come on, baby, baby, come on.
Yo, you best to check your neck.
I've always known who Wu-Tang Clan is in the same way that I always knew who the Beatles were. They're one of the biggest hip-hop groups of all time, both in terms of influence and the amount of members within the Wu-Tang Clan. But last year was when I really started diving deep into their musical output. I love hip-hop and I really wanted to get into the classics, so I figured a good place to start would be with the RZA, the Jizza, ODB. I fucked that up. I was gonna have a whole thing where I do the intro, and I just fucked it up. So I'm not even gonna do that again, because it would have been cringy anyway.
You must be so embarrassed!
I listened to enough Wu-Tang Clan that I was able to pick out a few of my favorite members. I gravitated towards Method Man and Old Dirty Bastard. They had some of my favorite songs and flows. Method Man is just a straight up good MC. His flow is strong and confident.
Patty cake, hey, the Method Man. No need skip, beat jet for Peter Pan. Peanut butter, cause I'm not butter. In fact, I snap back like a rubber band.
But ODB is just chaos.
Here I go, deep tight flow. Jack you stole can never get this low. I'm Terry Bomb and shit. Boom, that's warming up a little bit.
And that's probably why he wound up having one of the biggest solo careers out of all of the Wu-Tang Clan.
The news is that when Old Dirty Bastard comes through your town, he's bad. Leroy Brown, baddest man in the whole damn town.
He had some great songs from his first album, Return to the 36 Chambers, Brooklyn Zoo, Shimmy Shimmy Ya, and his second album featured probably one of his most well-known songs, Got Your Money.
You give me your number, I call you up. You act like your pussy on interrupt. I don't have no trouble with you fucking me, but I have a little problem with you not fucking me.
This is probably one of the greatest hip-hop songs of the 90s. There's been parodies and interpolations of the song over the years, but it wasn't until 2008 that we got a proper cover by pop-punk band Say Anything.
You give me your number, I call you up. You act like your pussy don't interrupt. I don't have no problem with you fucking me, but I have a little problem with you not fucking me. Babe.
This cover was recorded for the Fearless Records compilation Punk Goes Crunk, which sees pop-punk and screamo bands covering hip-hop and R&B music. Max Bemis's cover is just weird. It's not the worst thing I've ever heard. Definitely not the worst thing I've heard from Say Anything. It was obviously done very tongue-in-cheek. He even censors the N-word by saying N-word.
Okay, I gotta admit, that was humorous.
But he's got no energy. It's a fairly monotone performance. Whereas ODB's original was just so high energy. Most of Punk Goes Crunk is questionable at best. But this cover of Got Your Money sticks in my mind because it's just so not great. I really like Say Anything and I really like ODB. But when these two come together, it's just kinda mid.
Excellent!
I've mentioned multiple times on this channel that I don't really listen to a lot of country music. And the country music I do listen to is more alternative leaning. But I discovered a new artist towards the end of 2025 who I like quite a bit. And his name is Steven Wilson Jr.
There ain't a lot of boys named Gary these days, born with a cigarette glued to the face. Fix about anything a hammer can't handle, saving all the money cause a Gary don't gamble. Ain't a lot of girls going by Debbie anymore, but they got the same nicotine pouring out their pores. Time leaves town but the minute hand stays. There ain't a lot of boys named Gary these days.
Steven Wilson Jr.'s music has been described as death cab for country. a play on emo indie band Death Cab for Cutie, due to his fusion of country and emotion-driven indie rock. So he's definitely up my alley. So imagine my excitement when I find a cover that he did of one of my all-time favorite 90s alternative bands. That band is Everclear, and that song is Santa Monica.
We can live beside the ocean, leave the fire behind, swim out past the breakers, watch the world die.
I absolutely loved this song when I was growing up. It was so catchy, and it mixed elements of punk and alternative so perfectly. And Art Alexakis's vocals are so unique. I've never heard anyone like him before or since. Wilson's cover strips everything back, incorporating only an acoustic guitar and his haunting vocals.
We can live beside the ocean and leave the fire behind, swim out past the breakers and watch the world die. We can live beside the ocean and leave the fire behind, swim out past the breakers and watch the world die.
I usually hate when artists make songs all slow and sad that aren't slow and sad. It's a cheap tactic to elicit an emotional response from the listener. But Wilson's cover of Santa Monica takes the meaning of the song and makes it into something much darker and sadder. Art Alexakis was already a pretty intense songwriter, despite Everclear's poppy sound. But Wilson takes all of that darkness and addiction and sad shit and brings it all to the forefront without having to change the lyrical content. Honestly, I think everyone should check this cover out. I don't care if you don't like country or don't know who Everclear is. Just listen to this cover and enjoy the quality of it. It's truly fantastic.
As if.
I talk a lot about underrated bands and their influence on this channel, and no band is more underrated and influential than Refused. Refused were a Swedish post-hardcore band who incorporated elements of electronica and jazz into their hardcore sound. They've influenced everyone from Linkin Park to Paramore to the 1975. I'd love to do a whole video on them one day. So what happens when a band that is so talented and legendary is covered by a band that is not so talented and not so legendary? I think you know what happens. Crazy Town is one of the more C-tier nu metal bands from the late 90s and early 2000s. They weren't quite as talented as Deftones or outlandish as Limp Bizkit, but they had some fun moments. But their cover of Refused, New Noise is just god fucking awful. Crazy Town is nowhere near as talented as Refused. I think that's pretty clear to everyone. Shifty Shellshock and Brent Mazer are not as good vocalists as Dennis Lyxzén. Now granted, this was a live performance, so maybe they just weren't at the top of their game, or they were worn out, or whatever. But whatever the reason was,
unforgivable.
I don't know if Crazy Town was trying to show their cred by covering a band as talented and respected as Refused, but it backfired. This just made them look worse. Honestly, this cover is just booty cheeks. I don't recommend it, even as a joke. Refused is too good of a band for someone to ruin their music in this way. If you're a Refused fan, stay far away from this cover. If you're a Crazy Town fan, also stay far away from this cover, because it does not make them look good. What are some covers of 90s songs that you like? What are some you think suck? Should I do one of these for the 2000s? Maybe for the 80s? Let me know in the comments. That's gonna do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then I highly recommend smashing that like button, and sharing this video with everyone you know. I'm a small, independent content creator who does everything on his own. And I'm really trying to grow my channel. So every like, every comment, every share, any interaction with this video or any of my older videos really helps me out a lot. I'm trying to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of 2026. If I can do that, I will celebrate it by reacting to some of my old privated videos. And they're privated for a reason. They're cringe. So if you want to see me react to some cringe, then tell a friend, subscribe to the channel. I'm also trying to grow my Instagram, so if you want to follow me there, you can. But with all that being said, thank you for watching. As always, I'm Trevor. Stay uncool. And that's the end of the video. Goodbye.